Maybe my mom will come through later.
Yeah, well, so hold on. So with your mom, she just keeps making me feel like, are there 3 of you?
Yes.
Okay. She just keeps showing you that like everyone made the right decisions. She just wants you because she really loves you. She feels like the type of mom that would make everything okay all the time.
Yeah.
Almost sweep stuff under the rug if she had to.
Yeah.
And she just makes me feel like she's just really proud of what you're doing. But most importantly, she just wants everyone to know that she's okay. There's nothing to worry about. She's like, and also her mom's there. I don't understand this. Did your mom used to sew?
Yeah, she made her own clothes when she was in like high school.
Like a singer that somebody saw.
She had, I don't think anyone has it anymore, but
she just kept showing me like sweaters and not like knitting, but sewing, like putting things together.
Yeah.
Like hemming, and this singer sewing machine, but also from her mom. Also, you have her ring.
Yes.
Perfect.
Wearing it.
And she'll forever be with you. Yeah. And it's not the last time she's going to come through. She might even come through later, but she wants to let you get on with your segment.
No. The ring. I can't believe you picked up on that. I've worn this ring every day since she passed.
Welcome to the Destination Saratoga All Access Podcast, brought to you by Discover Saratoga. Here is your host, Mackenzie Zarzicki.
This podcast takes you behind the scenes with the people shaping Saratoga County's vibrant culture, rich history, and thriving community. This episode is sponsored by Julie & Co. Welcome back to the Destination Saratoga All Access Podcast. I'm your host, Mackenzie, and today we're coming to you from the historic Adelphi Hotel, one of Saratoga's most iconic spots. With a long reputation for ghostly stories, it happens to be the place where legendary John Morrissey took his last breath in 1878, making it the perfect spot for today's guest. I'm joined by medium Drew Callie Polifrone, a spiritual medium, Reiki master, and teacher known for helping people connect with loved ones in a way that feels healing and real. Drew studied at the world-renowned Arthur Findlay College in England and has built a reputation for meaningful messages that bring comfort and clarity. Today, we'll talk about how Drew first discovered his gift, what draws him back to Saratoga, and of course, pick up on any spiritual energy here in the Adelphi Hotel. Whether you're a believer, a skeptic, or just curious, I think this episode is going to be fascinating. Let's dive in. When did you first realize you had this gift as a medium, and what was that moment like for you?
So I was always aware that I was like really intuitive, or I just thought that I liked people. And I was, it was easy for me to be around people. I found people interesting. But even in the work I did after the military, I was in this like financial section of, it was kind of like sales, but it was like heavy negotiations against contracts prior to going to court and litigation. And I had to kind of size up people. And I just remember like being able to excel in ways that even attorneys couldn't with people. But this is all in hindsight. So yeah. I really had no idea. My mom's Irish, my dad's Italian. And so I was raised pretty traditionally Catholic, if you will, as far as values. And I didn't think anything about it. Just to me, a psychic or a medium was like the poltergeist lady on the Jersey Shore.
Yeah.
So this guy didn't fit the bill. I was into sports and pizza and, business and all that. And I think it was about a year to the date after I got sober. So I got back from Iraq in 2006 or 5. And then my mom passed of cancer over a 2-year period. And then
I'm so sorry.
Thank you. And then my wife and I had a stillborn baby girl at 8 months and 1 week. And then like 22 days later, my brother-in-law, my sister's husband, took his own life.
Oh my God.
So it was just like this really, all of a sudden I was like, life is really fragile.
Yeah.
And I just like started looking at stuff. And then I started going to therapy. It ended up being really cathartic for me. And I was asked one question, like, what do you do for fun? And I couldn't answer. Oh. And I was deep enmeshed in addiction with prescription medications and alcohol. And I'd always been a heavy partier, but this was different. It started getting darker, and that was my coping mechanism.
Yeah.
And if you ask me, everything's wonderful. I was making a lot of money and everything on the outside, but on the inside, I was dying.
Yeah.
I was like spiritually bankrupt. And in short order, my sister, I just remember she has these abilities too. My sister Carrie, and she was like, Drew, listen, I was talking to the psychic. She wants to speak to you. I'm like, what'd you tell her?
Yeah.
It's like, what'd you tell her? And she's like, no, she wants to talk to you. So I ended up had a conversation with her, and I didn't believe anything she said. I ended up meditating. She told me I was going to do this work. And she's like, your spirit guides want to meet you. I remember being such a smart ass. I was looking around the house like, I don't see them. And she's like, are you sitting next to a fireplace with a brown dog? And I was like, yeah. Like, it freaked me out. But she's like, just meditate a minute. So I meditated, and then I had this very physical, like apparition style experience. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't have believed it. But it's never been like that again. It was almost to the point where I had vertigo because there was so much happening. And as my thoughts would come in, the answers would come simultaneously, like almost like someone's having a telepathic conversation with me.
Yeah.
And, I didn't believe her, but something made me sit and meditate that night. First time I ever did it.
Wow.
I had about a year sober and clean at the time. And so I guess when it happened, I remember it feeling like homecoming. I'm actually working on a book, and I had to write this section, and I forgot so much that happened. And if someone told me this story, I would have believed them. Wow. Or they're like, yeah, okay. Like, you lost some marbles. But it was so dramatic in a way so that I couldn't ignore it. But I got to say, right away, started working. I heard, this is Jonathan, you got to call Jason. And I got a picture of this guy, Jason, I knew, and I called him, and I'm like, I had this dream, like trying to get a validation, if you will. And everything I said was right. And then as I was talking to him, I could feel someone touching my kidney. And I was like, you understand your dad passed from kidney cancer, or it started in the kidney, or whatever it was. And then he was like, are you effing with me? I'll never forget that. I'm like, why would I do that? So it was happening in real time.
Wow.
So I didn't know. I was about 33, 34. And I always joke now that I'm 35. No.
Me too.
I'm 49. So I've been doing it a while, but when it first started happening, I was surprised, excited, nervous, skeptical. I'm still a big skeptic of everything I get. Like, I don't want to let my ego get involved. It's important to me. Otherwise, I get it wrong. Trying to be right will screw me up. So it's been the most humbling experience ever. And once I started, the reason I went to Arthur Findlay College, and it's not like a semester, after semester in a 4-year college. You go for like a week at a time. They call it a college in England, but it's really a spiritualist, evidence-based mediumship like community.
Yeah.
And it was very heavy in evidence. And that's what I wanted. I didn't want to tell people, hey, there's 3 unicorns around you and Archangel Michael.
Yeah.
Not that I didn't believe in any of that, but it just didn't have any relevance and I couldn't prove it. John Edward was a big, I learned a lot from him. His dad was a police officer. My dad was in law enforcement. He's Irish and Italian, and he was just matter of fact. So that kind of style really spoke to me.
Yeah.
So I went a little bit overboard I was relentless. I had the money and I had the time. So I spent weeks at a time in England. Then I would go to Scotland, and I would go to Norway and work in healing. And I would come back to the States and do some readings. I still had my business. So it took a while. And to me, for some reason, I embraced it as, oh yeah, this is why I'm here.
Yeah.
But also at the time, I was really at a low point. So it actually uplifted me in a lot of ways. And what I found too was, interestingly, I couldn't sit around and talk to my mom. I mean, I could a little bit, or I could try. And sometimes I would sense them, but I was too emotionally entangled. So these abilities, and they're just abilities, can be developed, can be cultivated. To what degree depends. I do not believe that everyone's supposed to go do this professionally. I think it's a whole different animal and a whole different responsibility, but understanding that the language is psychic. It's not English. They're not walking up. It's not a ghost walking up to me like, say Drew. It's more of an abstract kind of conceptual language.
Yeah.
So it continues to teach me. And to be honest, I don't know what I would do without it now, but these abilities become gifts for other people. Like, I can't express how that I'm surprised all the time. I'm in awe of these abilities constantly. So it's a really wild thing. Yeah. And I don't feel deserving. I don't feel worthy. I'm willing to do pretty much anything to get it right and not sacrifice the quality for quantity and not try to people please, because a lot of people come in with a lot of demands.
Yeah.
So I had to learn like what works for me. And then I started teaching it and stuff. And that in turn also reflected back to me, like constantly being pliable, having to be pliable. So, but I had no idea. And I do believe in my Irish side, it was in there. Mm-hmm. My mom, her sisters were very intuitive, extraordinarily so. My aunt, who's still living, has dreams. things like that. But nobody ever took it to like this. Like I didn't grow up in a house where you're doing like tarot cards, and so I explored everything and I stuck with what worked and, I love it.
That's amazing. Now, here's a quick message from our sponsor. If you're ready to live in a vibrant downtown full of arts, activities, shopping, fine dining, and world-class thoroughbred racing, or you're drawn to the Adirondack Park with its lakes, trails, festivals, and restaurants, it's time to call Julie & Co. Realty, LLC, your hometown brokerage with local experts. Julie & Co. Realty, LLC gives you the insider's advantage on what's available in Saratoga Springs, the Capital Region, and the Adirondack Park. And with realtors who specialize in lakefront properties, second homes, historic homes, land and commercial listings, they have the premier agent you need to help you buy or sell with confidence. For more information, visit juliecorealty.com. So you kind of explained what got you to where you are today. Is this gift something you can turn on and off, or are spirits always around you?
So when I first started, I had somebody tell me that I had a leak in my aura, like a hole in my aura, and I was leaking life. So I was like freaked out. And I would go to
that's scary.
Yeah. I would go to the grocery store and be like, I'll just never forget. I was walking in this aisle and I heard like broccoli $2.49. And I was like, nope. I'm like, no. And I go over to the broccoli and it was $2.49. And what's the purpose of that? The intelligence? They kept reproving that it's not me. And but I remember in that parking lot, I called one of my friends who's a healer. She's like, Drew, you have to like do your chakras counterclockwise to shut down and clockwise to open up. So I'm in the parking lot doing this. And then I'm like, well, is that looking up or down counterclockwise and clockwise?
Oh, yeah.
So I had all these like questions like skeptics do. And eventually when I went to England, I remember because I felt like I couldn't turn it off. It was happening randomly.
Yeah.
And it was a little overwhelming. I was drinking holy water, smoking sage, like walking around my house like I thought I opened a portal, all this kind of stuff. And I think eventually I was taught like in a mentorship group, the tutor was like, step forward. And there were like 80 people. And she's like, go. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, don't I get to warm up? And she's like, you don't need to, just flip the on switch in your head and go. And I did, and it worked beautifully. And then she's like, when you take one step back, consider the light switch off. And it was. So it just stayed like that. And the stronger boundaries I have, they always respect them.
That's so cool.
Yeah. Like I don't go up to people and read them out of nowhere. I think that's poor taste and can be a lot of ego.
Yeah.
Occasionally something will happen, but it has to be the right circumstance.
That's really cool. I remember going to a palm reader one time, and she was talking about it like a radio dial. And it's like you turn it up and then you turn it down. Yep. And she said, like you said, everyone kind of has it, but not everyone's dialed into it. And like you said, some people shouldn't be doing it for numerous reasons. But sometimes I feel like I'm a little bit empath. Like I feel hard. But I second guess myself all the time. So I think it's amazing that you can put some of that aside, the ego, the second guessing, all of that, and really just do your job as in relay the message. And
I try, but I would say that's very like normal because like I always knew I was sensitive. I just didn't know to this degree. And I get a lot of people that take my courses and the workshops and butterfly courses, and they will come in. I'm just an empath because it's an easier word.
Yeah.
But E for empath just means like psychic awareness of energy and emotion. And then intuitive is like you get hits for yourself, or you'll be with someone and you'll be like, I think she's pregnant. And you won't think about it again. It's like somewhere out here. And then 3 days later, you'll find out and go, oh, I think I had that thought. Yeah. And then the psychic is more of like tuning into the living spirit, and mediumship is like them. But all of it uses the empath, the intuitive, the psychic, the medium, and even the healing is all one tree, different branches.
Okay.
So it's kind of like the empathic qualities allow you, because I always try to ask spirit to touch the highest and greatest needs for the highest and greatest good. And it's easy to pick up on wants when you're sensitive because people have a lot of things going on. We're funny creatures, and we want short, quick answers. But the empaths turn out to be great mediums, great psychics, great coaches, great teachers. Like it's really, really incredible. And I'd say first and foremost, the people that are sensitive like yourself, that like, it doesn't mean you have to become a psychic medium or a reader even, but it should enrich your life because it really is. Soul just means psychic just means of or related to the soul. So all the empathic intuition and psychic kind of development or cultivation comes in an experiential learning. And what really worked was sitting with other people and being willing to be wrong and in a safe space where you can be, and they're not going to go change your life predicated on what I said.
Yeah.
So the experiential, it really expands you more than anything. I've seen people do all these kind of courses and stuff and read books, which is great, but then their questions change once you start putting it into practical application.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so cool. So can anyone be a medium?
I would say no. I would say, and it depends to what degree you're talking about, but I do think that so if you gave me a group of people, 30 people for 2 days over the weekend, by Sunday afternoon, it was Saturday and Sunday, by Sunday afternoon, all of them will be connecting mediumistically. So you'll get like, I have a mother figure, you'll get like the general impressions. But I would say everyone has the capability. And there are times in certain people's lives where it kind of taps you on the shoulder, but the curiosity has to be enough to be the calling. Nobody ever knights you and says, okay, you're ready. And if they do, they probably aren't aware whether you are or not. Yeah, it's a really good question. And, I'm willing to be wrong on it. Anybody can learn the how to expand the abilities and be more receptive and get certain truths. Yeah. But I feel like it hits a limit real quick for most people.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I don't think I could do it because I just question everything. I feel like you have to be able, like you said, to accept to be wrong, but also you just tell it like it is. I overthink everything. So
yeah, I do too. And I did for a long time. I really did. So it's kind of normal. I would just say, so if I'm sitting there thinking about what I'm getting, I already am not going to get it right.
Yes.
So it's like, I have to in the beginning, it was really hard because you have to get into it, say it. You have to speak what you're getting impressionistically. Yeah. And it's really hard to do. But all of a sudden someone will be like, are you a nurse? And they'll go, yeah. I'm like, oh my God, really? Like I've seen hundreds and maybe even thousands of breakthroughs like that in the classes that I've had. And I don't know, I think that's part of the magic and the allure is the curiosity and seeing how far you can push the envelope.
Does that feeling ever get old? Like when you get something right and you see the excitement in someone else's face?
It's such a fleeting thing in the big scheme of things nowadays that it's like kind of, I don't want to say normal, but it's normalized.
So when you leave a reading, do you forget everything you just said?
I have. I would say I'm better at it now. So my conscious mind can have like a 5-way ADD conversation where in the beginning, I get off track. Like I would get 2 things right, get something wrong. And then my mind would go, oh my God, you're not going to get it right. Or I'd start questioning.
I'm in awe every time you do this. And when someone, can relate to it and connect to it, it gives me hope that people are still there. And that was going to be one of my next questions. Do you believe in life after death? What happens when we die?
You would think that would be like a no-brainer. I would be like, of course. I do. I read so much philosophy. I read hundreds of books from Edgar Cayce to Andrew Jackson Davis. He was from Poughkeepsie. And, he was like, did what Edgar Cayce did before him. Yeah. And all of these people talked about like the spheres of the other side. It was very hard to articulate because it's like taking liquefied glass, putting it together. But from our perspective, the glass sheets are solid and separate. Okay. So it's like, if you vibrate at let's say 100, someone at a 50 can't see the 100, but the 100 can see below that. What I do know is that life goes on and they come back constantly to try to say that they're okay and to move on and to tidy things up. And they're not here to give advantage or advice. I think they're very limited on what they can say, but they can prove to you that there's things that I shouldn't know. I can't Google or I don't know your name. Yeah. And I'm giving you very specific information. That in and of itself, to me, proves it over and over. Like, because there is an afterlife. And if somebody comes in for a reading, when they walk out, they could dismiss 80% of it. Easily, I've done it. But if there's some semblance of the afterlife, regardless of whether or not I know what they do and what happens, then that means that our life is worth living and where we're supposed to be. Yeah. I truly, truly believe that. So I would say, yes, definitely. There's just too much that I've experienced to think that it's my mind or that I'm picking up things telepathically. Like if someone sits in front of you and they're just thinking 5, 5, 5, 5, you might be like, is the number 5 significant? Like you might pick that up. Yeah. But there's things that can't be validated in the moment. And then I've had people where I had one woman, I'm like, your grandfather wasn't really your grandfather. He was your step grandfather. Or he was like, not blood. And the woman was like, no. I'm like, he played 7 instruments, not my grandfather. And she went back and he played 7 instruments and he was a step grandfather. So like, I'll never forget that. That was like 10 years ago. And I remember like the after validation stories of what I thought was wrong too.
Yeah.
Ended up being validated. So to me, it proves itself over and over.
Yeah.
And I would just say, I could have the most magical moment. Like I've had stuff where I'm playing a guitar and I'm like, I had my friend over and I'm like, hey, spirit, do you want to hear me play guitar or sing? Or I'll say blink twice if you want me to play guitar and it'll blink. And then I'll call people up, you got to come check this out. It doesn't work. So I just feel like it keeps us in check. It's not for me to float my ego or to be special. And I think that we're only supposed to get enough to believe and to trust, not enough to prove it.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Isn't that what faith is? You're supposed to believe, but
absolutely,
there's no factual.
Because if you really knew, then people would probably toe a totally different line.
Yeah.
You know, everybody would. And I think that's part of the process.
Yeah.
We can go back to, I can't get them out of my.
The reading, yes. Okay, let's do that. Of course. I'm dying for this, so yes.
So with your mom, she was ill.
Yeah.
Okay, this was cancerous. Mm-hmm. And do you understand there was like, that last year was like really, really rough?
Yeah.
And it's like 8-9 months. I keep getting this 9-month period. And also she didn't want to be in hospice. She wanted to be home.
Yeah.
Okay. And she just keeps making me feel like, are there 3 of you?
Yes.
Okay. She just keeps showing you that like everyone made the right decisions. There wasn't any mishandled anything. And it's like part of her is showing me that she just wants you because she really loves you. She feels like the type of mom that would make everything okay all the time.
Yeah.
Almost sweep stuff under the rug if she had to.
Yeah.
And she just makes me feel like she's just really proud of what you're doing. But most importantly, she just wants everyone to know that she's okay. There's nothing to worry about. She's like, and also her mom's there. I don't understand this. Did your mom used to sew?
Yeah. She made her own clothes when she was in like high school.
Like a singer that somebody still has?
She had, I don't think anyone has it anymore, but.
So she just kept showing me like sweaters and not like knitting, but sewing, like putting things together.
Yeah.
Like hemming. And this singer sewing machine, but also from her mom.
Yeah.
Okay. So I don't mean to go too far into this, but I can't help it. It's like the way it works. And the black dog somehow is connected to her.
Probably Cooper.
Okay. Like big tail.
Yeah.
Keeps swaying. And there's one other thing. Your mom keeps showing me that she heard everyone so she keeps saying this over and over and over, that you needed to see her in order to accept that she had to go.
Yeah.
To see the process.
Yeah.
Because like I feel like with dad and with both stepdad and dad, it was kind of a shock, unexpected.
Yeah.
And with her, she just keeps showing me that as hard as it is, there was like a slower period of acceptance and in your own way saying goodbye. And that's how I get it with her. And she just wants you to know that there is purpose in everything. She just feels like a woman of like a lot of faith.
Yeah.
That's how I feel. Like she's got this big faith, big energy. And you have the same thing. She just doesn't want you to doubt yourself so much.
Oh.
All right. Also, you have Hulin.
Yes.
Perfect.
Wearing it.
So, right on that show.
Oh, that was so great. Trying really hard not to cry. Oh my God. The ring. I can't believe you picked up on that. I've worn this ring every day since you passed.
I love that.
So
also one more thing. So is she named Jane?
Mary Lou, but my dad's James.
So did your mom pass in January?
Her birthday was in January.
Sorry. So I keep getting the right information, but there's like 3 or 4 people.
Yeah.
I just want to let you know that the work that you're doing is supposed to be done by you. Like you're doing what you're supposed to be doing.
Oh, good.
It's like really important because it's your spiritual journey.
No. Now, here's a quick message from our sponsor. Book lovers, mark your calendars. The Saratoga Book Festival returns October 2nd to the 5th, bringing best-selling authors, inspiring talks, and can't-miss events to downtown Saratoga Springs. Meet your favorite writers, discover new voices, and celebrate the power of storytelling. Learn more and plan your visit at saratogabookfestival.org. It's crazy. It gives me comfort, though, to know that they're still with us in some form, right? And they're communicating with us, even if it's at little bits, just to let us know that they're there. And you talked about spiritual journey, and I thought that was cool. You had said, I'm on my right path. Can you talk more about what a spiritual journey is, how we get there, what our purpose is?
Yeah, I mean, I think oddly enough, everything we do is spiritual, bad, good, and different. I really do. Like in Japan, there's this kind of religion called Shinto, and it just means that everything has a soul, a rock, a tree, a leaf. The spiritual journey is this constant state of awakening and being willing to be wrong and to want to be happy instead of be right.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like to me. And I know that may seem vague, but people write tons of literature on this stuff, and it's just different for everybody.
Yeah.
You know, like I'll never forget doing a past life regression with somebody. They were doing it for me. And I remember they're like, all right, look down at your feet, you know, and I'm expecting my night boots. And I had women's feet. And the whole time my mind's like, this is stupid. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. And I saw this whole experience. And as they asked questions, answers came, not thoughts, but answers, like from the deep part of me. And keeping that bridge open as much as we can is the spiritual journey.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, everyone here is going to have somebody that's going to pass away or get sick or bad things happen or accidents or all that kind of stuff. But what's on the flip side of that? And if we try to just spend, why is it a problem? Why does it have to be like this? Then we never really get to, okay, what do I do now? So I think it's really about trying to be present and accepting.
Yeah.
Acceptance is key. Because if you don't accept it, if you're not aware of something, you can't accept it. If you can't accept it, you can't take any action.
Yeah.
And sometimes, especially for me, sometimes no action is the best action, you know?
Yeah.
And just letting things be. And usually they work themselves out.
Yeah.
If I get too involved, I can muddy the waters. And emotional balance is, for me, the most important piece of the spiritual journey.
So what are your thoughts on the concept of the soul? Some people say it doesn't exist.
There's a lot to the energy, first of all. And to me, the soul is the pearl at the center of who we are.
Mm-hmm.
It's the seat of, it's like the spark to the flame.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that for me, I've seen auras within people or around people. It's not like they're walking around in a pink bubble, but as they get excited about something or sad about something, their energy completely shifts. And I feel like at the center of us, the emanation, that magnetic field that emanates through our humanness, is where spirituality resides. And I think spirituality in general is not to escape our humanness. It's actually to be rooted in it. Mm-hmm. And not to try to raise above it or avoid it. It's like to accept it, embrace it with all its weaknesses and flaws and difficulties. But yes, I believe that there is a soul, and it may not be a flying Casper, you know, that people see with their eyes. But they did actually do a weighted measurement when somebody passed away right before their quote unquote soul left the body. Mm-hmm. And there was like a certain amount of ounces lighter they were. And they've done this test multiple times. And does that mean anything? I don't know. And I've had people tell me that consciousness is real, but the soul's not. Mm-hmm. How do you differentiate the two? It depends on how you look at it. And I would say that, consciousness is real. And I do believe that consciousness came before material, before anything physical conscious. There was a thought, an idea, almost like before the word, there were the whispers. Before the whispers, there were the thoughts. And then there was like, you know, something before that we can't fathom. But I would definitely say there's a soul. And I would say you can consider it your heart, because there are certain people that are sensitive souls, and you could call that emotions. But I really feel like when I get an answer for somebody about something that's like where you're in like Yesville, it's just like, I know it's from my chin to my belly button. It's the core of who I am. Is not supposed to be readily available to us, but that GPS within us is I would say the biggest evidence of it, the most evidence of it. Like, how many times have you just trusted your instinct to not go or go, or you just felt something was wrong, you don't know why, and you never even knew why? How many things have we been saved from that might have potentially happened that didn't? And I do believe that spirits are home we're visiting. It's not the other way around. Wow. Completely.
That's an interesting way to think about it.
Yeah, like to us, they're away. To us, they're a lifetime away. To them, they're, you know, we're away at sleepaway camp. We'll be home in a couple of weeks. Like, that's the only way I can articulate that concept that I get.
Yeah.
And every time I connect with them, there's this expansiveness. They always feel like they're joyful, happy, concerned, or interested and trying to engage, but also they have their own lives. So there is something to the energy going on no matter what. And that's, you know, science. Energy doesn't die.
Now, here's a quick message from our sponsor. Looking for your next unforgettable night out? Let Metroland be your guide. Whether you're craving rooftop cocktails, chef-driven cuisine, or the best live music in the capital region, Metroland connects you with the pulse of Saratoga and beyond. It's your go-to source for where to go, what to do, and who's making waves in the local scene. From hidden gem restaurants and bar openings to weekend event guides and exclusive interviews with the area's top creatives, Metroland brings the capital region to life one story at a time. So before you plan your next night out, check out themetroland.com and follow the Metroland on Instagram. Metroland, discover your scene. So you mentioned when you were going on one of your spiritual journeys that you saw women's feet. So I have to ask, can you be more than one person? Like, does your soul...
At once or different times?
At different times. Like, does your soul come back as a different person?
So I'll share a couple things so one of them was I had these women's feet, had long brown hair, and I was with somebody who was a friend of mine who didn't look like her in this life, but I knew it was her. And it just made sense. The themes all added up. So, and you're in this deep regression state or hypnotic state almost. And it was just so vivid. Even how I passed away. I mean, it was probably 17 or 1800s. And also there's one very significant one. I've been to combat. I went overseas, joined the Army after 9/11. And I would say that there was one time that really sticks out to me. You're going through this thing and everyone regresses you a little bit differently. But this particular person was like, okay, you're walking through like, I don't know, some sort of doorway or whatever after a certain amount of time where your mind's not too involved. And it's like, what do you see? And I remember this smoky field. And I remember it was almost like clouds on the ground. And as it started clearing, I could just smell death. So I knew it was like war. And I was like, and all of a sudden I'm holding a rifle and I get emotional even thinking about it because like, I don't know why. So that to me is like the touchstone of the soul is that emotion. But I would say that, so I had this rifle. I knew it was 1914. And I'm expecting, so that's World War I. I'm expecting where I was walking around, I'm expecting to be, this American soldier like I was in this life. And I wasn't. I was wearing a German uniform. And I remember being like really mad. I was like, what? And I knew that I think I lived in Switzerland and I had this wife and a couple of kids. And I even could see where I was with the fireplace towards the end with like a pipe as an old man. And that I dedicated the next lives and the in-between lives to not get too involved with politics again, because politics kind of ruined my existence at that time. So I do believe that there are these other existences and that we do have multiple lives, a multitude of lives. And I also believe maybe there's some truth to it too, that you can choose to come back or not.
Wow.
That's I would say too, like, doing this work, you get all sorts of characters. So I'll have people come in and be like, is my mom, my cat, stuff like that. Like people will legitimately ask me that. After just connecting with them. So I'm like, so the greater part of us is definitely on the other side, even when we're here. And for all we know, we could just be like the pinky nail of the soul in this body. So we could be living multiple different lives with, there's so many ways you can go with that.
That's incredible though. I think the question about, is my mom my cat? I always wonder if in the next life, would I be my mom's mom? Like, are we all in the same family structure, or like, do our souls stay together and we just come back as different players in the game? Or do we have different families and connect with different souls? Like you recognized your friend.
Yeah.
Is that a coincidence or is that how it's supposed to be?
Yeah, it's crazy. I would say it's probably all of the above. I do believe we have soul groups. Like, so when we go to the other side, there's a natural inclination or attraction or momentum towards the core of who you are and what you believe. And I do believe like you almost go to, let's say, the neighborhood of soul groups or community of soul groups, and then to the neighborhood of your last life. And I don't know, like I wouldn't want to come back and be a part of my daughter's life as someone else. So maybe we wait 50 years or 100 years or some sort of separation, at least in our time. But to us on the other side, like, it depends on how you look at that. But I do believe that we have the choice and that we can live multiple lives. We share soul groups. Like you ever meet someone and you're like, I just like this person. Yeah. And you meet someone else, you're like, I don't know about that. And it's not because they're bad or good. Someone else, and I would say doing this work, it's amazing to me. Family sessions are particularly unique because you'll get, 5 people, 3 of them are saying no and 2 are saying yes to a certain truth.
Yeah.
And some people are so wrapped up in our lives here as this is everything.
Yeah.
If I don't get this, then life sucks. And if, and it's like, it's a very hard way to live. And that's why I think people, as you get older, there's things that you become wise to, based on need and based on like fear.
That's wild. It's so fascinating because I feel like you said it. We get stuck in our world here and there's so much more than our lives now. For the longest time, you just feel like you're in this deep, dark hole. Why me? Why did this have to happen? And I think you said it so eloquently, is that bad stuff happens to everyone and it comes in different waves and different times. And then once you can see beyond that and you have these conversations and feel hope, whatever it is that you believe spiritually, you can get through it. And I definitely have moments where I feel like I regress or I feel sad and get back into that mindset. But then I like look at my children and I'm like, there's, they're just so innocent and they're just so happy and everything is exciting, every adventure. And it's like, this is my purpose. And you just have to reshift your purpose. It's like driving a boat and you think you're going one way, you're just slowly steering a different direction until you get to that other side. And yeah,
it's just so funny to me that as we get so caught up in our own stuff that we don't realize that we put on all these winter coats of energy and we think that's normal. And when you start taking those winter coats off, whether it's like Reiki healing or just you doing whatever you're doing to help yourself, you start taking those off and you get that light back and you're like, oh, I didn't realize how bad I was feeling.
Yeah.
So there is a lot of hope. And also letting go of the grief is not letting go of the love.
Yeah.
That's a big deal. People feel bad for being happy or guilty. And, that's, I never had a spirit come through and be like, you should be more guilty.
Yeah. Right. Oh my gosh, I could go on forever, but I would be remiss, excuse me, if we didn't talk about Saratoga. So you said you used to live here, mm-hmm. And what drew you to Saratoga? Why do you like to come back to do readings?
Such a good question. So I'd gone through everything I'd gone through between like 2009 and 2012. And I owned this successful business. So I was going to sell it, or pass it off to my brother. And, I drove up here. I didn't know where I wanted to go. And truth be told, there was this crazy experience. And it was the only time I ever felt like an angel's presence and saw it in my mind's eye in my house before I moved in. It was like, I kid you not, it was like a cartoon next to me in my mind. I did this big group that night. So I was like up and in it. I get home, I meditate just as a gratitude thing. And, they showed me horses and like, you're moving to Saratoga. I'll never forget it. And I was like out loud, I'm like, no, I'm not. Nope. I'm not going to Saratoga. And, I'm so stubborn, and then like, they were like, yes, you are, you'll see. And I remember I was trying to sell my house and I wanted to move because there was so much stuff that happened in that traumatic stuff. And I just didn't know where I was going to move to. I didn't expect to move upstate. Wasn't moving to Florida either. I just didn't know where. So like within 5 days, it just kept kind of being there. And the mail, that angel or guide was so vivid. It was like, again, I wouldn't believe it if it didn't happen to me. So I don't expect anyone to believe it. But I drove up here. I didn't know exactly where I was going to go. I just headed towards Saratoga from North Jersey. And I ended up staying in I think it's the Holiday Inn by the park.
Yep.
For a couple of days. And I ended up driving. I got lost. I think I went out on a 29 out to Broadalbin, thinking I was still in Saratoga. And I passed by a realtor and I'm like, hey, are there any houses? I happen to walk in. There's a broker. So talk about the GPS of the soul. So she took me to this property. It was 12 acres and the house wasn't really built. There was like a foundation or something. And I was like, maybe I should make an offer. And I did. And they took it. I couldn't believe they took it. And then I went home, put my house on the market, and it sold within 24 hours for 10 grand more than I put it up for.
Wow.
So I was just like, I mean, all of this took a couple of weeks, but once I put it on the market, it was like gone the next day. And they were like, you have to be out by like June 15th. It was like May 5th. I was like, what? So I ended up coming up here and I thought I was going to build maybe a retreat center, or I wasn't really sure. And I didn't know the areas so well. So I ended up having an office down here by Gina Clemente, who is my Reiki teacher. She's wonderful, in Saratoga. And there was just something that drew me up here. And once I got off the exit, I'll never forget it, that there was something like there was like a truth and a resonance in like healing. I don't know how to explain it. It felt sacred to me. There is a lot of history up here and I could feel it. And I'm not a history buff. I didn't know exactly what was what, but even in the parks, I go to the Skidmore Trail with my dog like every day and be like running back there. And there was just something that felt almost like the closest thing to Native American, raw, shamanic, loving, natural, source-based healing.
Oh, I love
or
that.
energy. Yeah. And like a place like this, place like UPH, like all these places that, have people coming to check out the history is really amazing. And the more that I ventured out from Boston Lake to Boston Spa to like, up by, Queensbury, Lake George, like all these places, the more I loved it. I mean, it's amazing. There's a lot up here.
I love that.
Every time I come up here, I want to stay up here. I feel like more people should be coming up here and checking this out. I think it's very underrated.
Oh, yes. We love our city in the country. Has all of the amenities you would want, but it's still quiet.
I know. I remember people being like, you got to watch out for the traffic. I was like,
yeah, nothing like Jersey traffic, right? So we're in the Adelphi Hotel, and the Adelphi is known to be haunted. They have some of their, history and lore of people and legends, Victorian era, who have come through here, lived and died. More prominently, John Morrissey, who the restaurant downstairs, Morrissey's Lounge, is named after. He was a big part of why Saratoga became such a tourist destination in the Gilded Age. Are you feeling any spiritual energy? Is there anything that is coming to you in this particular building?
So it's interesting. So I was aware of a man with a hat and a mustache, but I also kept getting this early on when your dad came through and your stepdad and then your mom or whatever, when people started coming through, I always feel that happens in places that have that kind of frequency and high vibration. And there's a presence. I don't know how to explain it. It's like a different density in the energy, the atmosphere. But I had this man and it was kind of like a reddish, brownish mustache and a hat. And I was just aware of him. It was almost like either soldier or like cowboy kind of, or in charge.
Yeah.
Like adventurer. I don't know.
Totally.
But I don't know I honestly do not know the history of the Adelphi.
Yeah.
I don't know the history of the gentleman you were talking about. But for me, whenever I do look, I went to Norway and there was this huge haunted place and they were like, do you feel anything? And I felt this woman in this dress. And then we went around the corner and there a picture was,
oh, wow.
So it was really cool. But it's not my specialty. So maybe there's something to that, but I don't know.
I like that you said with the frequency and stuff, because it makes me think of the History Museum when they had the ghost hunters come and everything. I mean, that's definitely a little more superficial than what we're talking about here today, but I do feel like the energy is here.
The EVPs and all the technology they have now is really interesting.
It's so cool to think about it. And just to, not even in like a ghostly sense, but to think about all of the famous people who've come through Saratoga, the Vanderbilts, like JP Morgan, they were downstairs rocking, not downstairs specifically, but they were on Broadway rocking on the...
I can feel that. Like I feel there's a power. As soon as I get about right past Kingston, I start to feel this draw. There's this power to this place, almost like it's a giant amethyst crystal.
Yeah.
There's just a draw to it. And, it makes sense because so much, there's a lot of foundation in human transformative experiences,
Yeah. Now, here's a quick message from our sponsor. Discover Saratoga membership puts your business in front of thousands through online listings, social media, print guides, referrals, and signature events like Chowderfest and Restaurant Week. Plus, you'll get insider access to convention calendars, networking opportunities, and marketing support year-round. Join the 500-plus local businesses already growing with Discover Saratoga. Visit discoversaratoga.org/membership to sign up today. Do you believe in the woo-woo, like the tarot cards and the stones and the astrology and all the, stuff out there?
So I would say yes. And simultaneously, there's a lot more fraud with that. When people pull cards, I've had more people give me nonsensical readings based on cards. So tarot to me is more about the archetypes, the major archetypes or major arcana. There's 22, or at least in most decks. And then there's the minor arcana, the subsets. And I would just say that there is truth to that. When people study that system, I mean, it goes with Carl Jung's, archetypal system and the collective unconscious and all this stuff, but it depends on what you're using them for. So I do believe in them, but I believe that when I pull the card, it's an extension of me. It's an extension of my understanding of what the need is, or it's an extension of what their need is. And maybe it's our guides are standing behind us, go, yeah, pick that one. Like, I just try to keep it like very human, but also, oracle cards can tell a story. I could pull I have a bunch of different decks, and the more abstract for me, they work better. When they're too literal, it doesn't work well, but the symbology is very, very significant. Yeah. And it depends on the user. And sometimes someone comes in, and I used to play with decks a lot, and I would say, even regular reading cards or regular playing cards I could read from. Like you could just pull them over and get like a, Jack of Spades. And for some reason I could just get into it. And you can do mediumship based off of them. But I would say for early people that are just starting, it's a comfort because you have something physical to look at and extend. It's not abstract. You don't have to come up with anything. As far as crystals, so I had a crystal shop near me. And like I said, I did really well for myself at the time. So I'd come home with these giant amethyst, like cave-like looking things. And I had rose quartz and I had clear quartz and I had selenite and I had tiger's eye and all this stuff. And I had under my healing table, this giant, almost like pyramid of rose quartz, this pink, beautiful crystal that's supposed to absorb energy. And, I just remember like maybe for 5 years, I was into that and I would have them set up in rooms and I felt the energy. You could see the aura from them almost.
Yeah.
And then I got to a point where I was doing a healing and I moved my healing room and I forgot about the crystals. I think I was up here and, I moved my healing room and I forgot about the crystals or I didn't move them in time and it felt more powerful. So maybe the crystals are amplified by how much credit or belief I give them partially.
Yep.
Because it really did seem to help for me at certain periods of time, even holding on to certain crystals and meditating. So astrology though, I think like nowadays you can send away to like ARE and get a packet and it's like science. Like it'll tell you all this stuff, but it's still, if it's done without intuition, you can feel that it's like lacking.
Yeah.
So I just think it really depends. And like I've seen astrology readings or writings that really, really speak to me. So I think it's all relevant. The only thing is, if you go back in time and you go to like, if we had a 28-day cycle for every month, we'd have 13 months and it would just be even. So it's like, there's so many things that may or may not have been that it's a little bit different. Yeah. Whatever you use, whatever you like is good for a period of time. And I would just say that it's just like anything, like doing guided meditations after a while.
Yeah.
I crave silent meditations. And when I was using there are some people that come in and I want to use certain things, but astrology can be really accurate from an overview. Mm-hmm. And it can be part and parcel of a really good guidance session or something. So it's very real, but I just feel like people take stuff and go like too far with stuff too often.
Yeah. It's amazing how many different things there are out there to learn more about you, look inside you, whether it's spirituality or, I don't know, getting a reading. All of this is just so fascinating to me that there's so many different ways you can do it. Yeah. And there's so many truths to it too. And then there are some phony people out there, but.
And there's really good card readers that I got.
Yeah.
Really good. So I don't have a doubt in the tool, but I just feel like I just didn't want to, I needed it to be the way it is for me now.
Yeah.
I needed it to be evidential and validation with no possible way I could know so that it proved life beyond life exists.
Do you have a simple meditation or a ritual that people can try if they wanted to stay grounded or open to spirit?
Yeah. I actually used to send it out to people if they signed up for our newsletter called The Pearl Within. So I just do this thing where people close their eyes, let the breath get into a natural rhythm, and you just let your shoulders relax. Let your out breath be a little bit longer than your in breath. Breathe up through your lower back as if the earth is breathing into you, and breathe out every pore in your skin. Clear waves of energy. And any resistance, accept it, let it go, and send the clear waves of energy to that resistance. And then as you continue to breathe, you notice a sliver in the atmosphere just above your mind, and this gentle blue and yellow light start to float downwards and spiral around you as your own personal hurricane of grace. with you at the center, perfect, still, whole. And with your next in-breath, you start to notice this perfect pearl at the root of your breath, with the center of your chest. And as you continue to breathe slowly, it expands outwards in all directions like a star in the sky, aligning you with all that is, all that ever was, and all that will be. And just allow yourself to become a state of being. And you take one breath from the earth again through your lower back, out clear waves of energy. Notice your breath becoming white, as if you have been aligned. You can open your eyes when you're ready.
That's cool.
Simple. I think simple is always good.
Yeah. Drew, it has been such a pleasure talking with you today. I am just in awe at what you can do. And this is so cool. And you've explained so much that I feel like our listeners can resonate with and maybe have a better understanding what it's like to be a medium.
Yeah, try not to make it too complicated.
Yeah. And keep it fun at the same time, which I love. Was there anything else that you wanted to touch on before we say goodbye?
No, I'm just really grateful. I feel honored and privileged to do this work. And when I get to work with other people, and I don't know, I think that the people I work with teach me more than I'll ever gift them. Constantly. Yeah. Constantly learn themes from people, and I just love doing it. I love doing it, and just thank you for letting me do this and be here.
I love it. So if our listeners want to get in touch with you, where would they go?
You can go to our website, www.mediumdrew.com. You can find me on social media, TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook, some YouTube also, just at Medium Drew. And it's Drew Cali Polifrone. And I do an email list, and we send out meditations. And I'm always trying to do events. Like we have a Saratoga thing tomorrow, and on Sunday we're doing a workshop. So if I can help, let me know.
I love it. Thank you so much. This has been awesome. I appreciate your time and everything. And thank you. Just thank you for everything.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yay.
You've been wonderful.
Please like, subscribe, rate, or review our show. Thank you.
This episode is sponsored by Julian Co. This podcast is produced by Discover Saratoga and Bright-Sided Media.